Hey, third grade, welcome to a new math lesson with Mr. G. This math lesson is going to bring together all of the things we've been learning about area and perimeter and bringing them together into a fun kind of project. I'm really excited to share this one with you. It's going to be a mix of all of the hard work we've been learning about area when we've done the area alphabet, when we've played the area sharing game, when we've divided shapes and counted the sides of it to find the total in the inside. This game is going to take all the skills that you've used and it's going to be able to use them to make some really cool and fun things. So I don't know if you've seen it in the news before, but since everyone's been locked down, some people have been doing some really cool stuff on the internet. One of these things is to put little art inside their window using post-its and just sticking the post-its on the windows to create pixel art. So if you haven't seen pixel art before, if you're a huge fan of video games or old video games like Mr. G, a lot of them like Mario used to have these things called pixels. And what pixels were tiny little blocks, kind of like the square units that we've been using in our math lessons. So what people are doing with these square units is they're making pixel art. They're taking little post-its, since post-its are a little square, and they're putting them on their window in unique arrangements and different colors to make these kinds of cool pictures. What this inspired Mr. G to do is to kind of really teach you all these skills necessary to make your own pixel art and to play with some pixel art games. And so I'm really excited to show you this lesson. It's going to be kind of, like I said, using all the tools we've learned about area and perimeter to kind of make some awesome and cool pixel arts. And so after that activity, I'll even show you how you can go online and try and make your own pixel art creations. So I'm really excited to see what everyone comes up with. All right, so the idea of this game is really simple. You're going to be using rectangles that you've been drawing, just like we have in our past lessons, to go ahead and try and cover up all the black pixels located in the drawing. So if you notice on this drawing right here, it's supposed to be like a little alien, like in the video games like Galaga way back in the past, where you have these little alien space invaders that you have to shoot from your spaceship. And so this is kind of what they look like. And one thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to cover up these black pixeled aliens with square colored boxes. So looking at this picture, you'll see that the green one has a check mark. This is the correct way to do it. You need to make a full rectangle, not a square, but a rectangle that covers the black boxes. And so this one would eliminate 1, 2, 3, 4 of the black pixels inside this box. What you cannot do is make a rectangle that only covers half of the pixels, like this rectangle right here. You see how it only covers half the space here? This one would have to come all the way around for it to make actual rectangle for it to fit and for it to count in this game. So some tips Mr. G can give you is, one, the smaller the rectangle, the better. And two, try to use as few rectangles to cover up the drawing as possible. So you want to try and get the lowest points, the lowest score you can. And Mr. G is going to show you how you add up your score to see how low of a score you got right after this. So right over here, Mr. G is going to try this game himself. I'm going to show you how you play this game using Google Slides because it is something really unique. I'd prefer to have you go ahead and print this out and draw on it. But for the purpose of this lesson, we're going to get creative with our digital skills, just like we have been doing all this time during our lockdown at school. And we're going to go ahead and try this game online. So again, we need to make sure that all of these black pixels are covered up, and we want to use as few rectangles as possible, and we want to make sure that they cover up as much as we can. And how we're going to add up our score is going to be in these boxes right here. I'm going to take the number of rectangles that I've used squared plus the area of all the rectangles I've used and add them up to get my score. So I'll explain what squaring a number is in just a second. But first, let's go ahead and try this game. So Mr. G is thinking, and my strategy is going to be, I think I want to go ahead and knock out this middle area first. This middle area has a lot of different points right here. And I'm thinking that maybe I can take this area out, maybe with the above area too. So let's go ahead and make a rectangle. I'm going to go ahead and click my shape, make a shape, and call on a rectangle. And I think my first one is going to be, so let's see. I think if I start here, I'm gonna have a nice outcome. Yeah. So look at that. I made a rectangle, but the thing Mr. G notices already is that this rectangle is very difficult for me to see what is underneath so that I can count up what my score is going to be at the end. So what you're going to want to do is when you make a rectangle, you're going to click it. You're going to see this paint bucket right here. It's called fill color. On this paint bucket, you're going to click the paint bucket and you're going to make it transparent, which means no color inside. Yeah. So now I've made it transparent. The last thing I want to do is choose a fun color, maybe a bright color like green, so that I can see the rectangle I drew. So right here, now you can see my green rectangle that I drew right here. My last tip I can give you, if this is, Mr. G's eyes are really old, so I need to make this a little bigger. So after I changed it to transparent fill, I made the line green so it's not black and I can easily see it. The last thing I'm gonna do is select how big the line is, called border weight. So this third one right here, I'm gonna select 3 as my border weight. Now I can much easily see what my rectangle is. And Mr. G's old eyes is gonna even make it up to a 4 so that I can super easily see it. So bam, this is my first rectangle. So you see this rectangle already knocked out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the aliens black squares. So now I have all these rests to go. So now let's see. I think I want to go ahead and make a rectangle that takes out these ones. Now I don't want to include these white blocks over here because those are going to give me more points in the end and I want to get the lowest score possible. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to insert the shape rectangle. And I'm going to put it right at the top over here. Bam. And again, transparent. I'll make this one blue and I'm going to make my size 4. Now I have 2 rectangles now. So I took out 1, 2, 3, 4 on the top. I took out all these in the middle. Now I got to deal with the alien's body and its legs over here. All right. So I think I'm going to keep going with the same strategy I had. And I'm going to insert. I'm going to go ahead and, shortcut, shapes, rectangle. How about I make a rectangle that covers, I can maybe do it like this. If I take, let's see. Oh, I think I know what I want to do. Get rid of that. Let's do this part right here, and then we'll do this part right here. So I'll put insert my shape, rectangle, and I'm going to cover up this whole part right here. And I'm even going to stretch this up to cover these ones right here. So I'll take care of this. This is going to be, again, transparent. Make this one red for fun. And we'll have that one right there. I'll make it line up a little nicer. Nice. And then I'll do another one to take out the other leg right here. Bam, like that. To kind of look the same, kind of what I was going for here. Let's make this one yellow. You don't have to use a bunch of different colors, Mr. G thinks, so it's just easier to see all the different rectangles I have doing this. And the last one I need to do is take out this body right here. So let me make a small rectangle right here. Shapes, rectangle, and do it to take out the body right here. All right, and once I do transparent, and I'll pick purple for this color. Now you can see I went ahead and I covered up all the black squares inside a rectangle. Act as if the rectangle is like capturing the alien and you want to make sure you capture all the black squares. So now I can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different rectangles that I use. And what I need to do is count up the area of my rectangles. So one thing I can do is simply count all the spaces. Now I'm not going to count just the black squares. I need to count the white squares too, because those are what I'm using for my score. So that's why you want to have as least white squares as possible, but remember, you have to make rectangles. You can't make any other shapes. So this first blue one right here, I can see I have 2 on the side and 1, 2, 3, 4 on the top. So I know this is 2 times 4 is 8. So this first rectangle is going to be 8. I'm going to add 8 plus, let's see, 1, 2, 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 times 4 is 12. I know 8 plus 12 is 20. Then I have 2 right here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2 times 10 is another 20, so I have this one is 8, 12, and 20, so that's 40. already as my area because I'm adding them all up. So just doing this all in my head. Feel free to use a paper and a pencil if you need that to add up all these. I know it's going to be a big number. Or you can simply count all the spaces that you use inside your rectangles one by one, but using the quick way in my head. And I know these two rectangles, so I have 40 points here. I have these two rectangles, they're exact same size. They're 1, 2, 3 on the top and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down the sides. So 3 times 6 is 18. 18 times 2 is 36. So 36 plus 40 is 76. All right, so I have my answer. My area of all my rectangles is 76. All right, so that's the area of all my rectangles when I added them up all together. And now the next thing I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to add up the number of rectangles I have squared. So when I say the number of rectangles I have, remember I said I had 5 rectangles, a blue one, a green one, a red one, a purple one, and a yellow one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have my number of rectangles, which is 5. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna multiply that times the same number, 5. And you know, 5 times 5 equals 25. If you're not sure about what the square numbers are, you can look at this handy dandy chart. And I can see that on my times table chart, the square numbers are in yellow. So if I go to the number 5, I know 5 times 5 is 25. If I only use 6 rectangles, my square number would be 36. 16, if I had 4. If I only had 3 rectangles I use, my square number would be 9. Remember, I want to get as low number as possible. So, you know, if I can get 2 rectangles only, it's going to give me a lower score for the number of squared rectangles. But if I only use 2 rectangles to cover all of my black pieces, I might end up using a lot more of these white spots. So I don't know if that's a good strategy. Might want to play around with that. So now I have the number of rectangles squared plus the area of all the rectangles when I added them up. So now I'm going to go ahead and add up to see what my final score is. 25 plus 76, which will give me a final score of 101 units. So Mr. G played this game. I got 101 units. I'm going to actually leave my game on this Google slide so that you can check it out and see how I got it. I'm going to say, this is Mr. G's game. And I'm going to challenge you. Can you beat my score? Can you get a lower score than Mr. G? I really want to see if anyone can beat my score of 101 units, 101 points, right over here. If you can beat it, I would love for you to show me how you can beat it. I think this is going to be the best way I can get for now. If you feel like you can come up with a better way to beat me, why don't you go ahead and try it yourself and do it on this next slide right here. After that, I want you to go ahead and try this challenge alien. This guy's a little funkier, and you can go ahead and see what your lowest score for this one is. And last but not least, as always, explain your thinking. You can go ahead and explain your thinking and say what strategy you use to go ahead and solve your alien pixel art where you covered up your alien. I'd really love to see what your thinking was, because I know I can't talk to you in person. You're gonna have to write and type it here on the document for your teachers and I to see. The last thing I'm gonna leave you with is something really fun. That's kind of the celebration of what we've been doing so much with area so far, because our next lesson we're gonna be moving on to fractions. Right over here, if you click this delicious watermelon pixel art, you can go ahead online to pixelartonline.com and you can go ahead and create your own pixel art. So I'm gonna go ahead and click here and click the link. And right over here, Mr. G is gonna show you that you can go ahead and make your own pixel art. And you can see that Mr. G has already been working on a pixel art right here. And I said, third grade rocks, because you guys do, guys and gals, boys and girls, you definitely rock. I definitely love third grade, the only grade I've ever taught at Vargas. So have fun with this. You can go ahead and choose all different colors here to go ahead and draw and color and make different kind of pixel arts. The eraser tools over here too. You can go ahead and try it out. what Mr. G did over here is I just created some numbers. I used different colors to create letters. I had to erase a lot. I even made a smiley face up here. I'm really interested to see what you can create and make using pixel art. And I don't know, take a picture of it, send it to your teacher. Maybe you have a cool idea or making something really awesome, like if you make a character from a movie or a video game that you really want. Mr. G doesn't know all of the tools here, but if you want to go ahead and try them out and use different kind of tools to find out, um, my biggest tip is to just have fun. Mr. G definitely had a lot of fun doing this. My biggest tip for you, I think, is going to be, you know how Mr. G put third grade rocks over here? You can see that I use 32 by 32 as my area. The smaller the area, the easier time you're gonna have without having to zoom in. So I'm gonna show you right now how you can go ahead and change that. So right when you get into pixelart.com and you click this link, it's going to ask you, I'm going to do a new drawing. Right over here, you're going to pick 32 by 32, 100 by 100, and 500 by 500. It's going to be super duper big. It's not going to be it's going to be kind of overwhelming, right? If it's going to be your first one. So I would go 32 by 32, and it's going to give you a blank slate just like this, and you can start painting whatever you want. Just start clicking the different pixels or even click and drag to do more like this. And it's really cool because it's like coloring, but with pixel art. So you can go ahead and make whatever you want. I don't know what I'm making here. I think I'm making kind of like a person. It looks like a Minecraft person or something. But yeah, this is a fun activity you can do and send your teacher after you're done with the games. So have fun. I'll see everyone. I'm really excited to see what you come up with as this last lesson for area and perimeter. Thanks, third grade.